other numbers are probably from the left side. And then what it said too about those columns is the personality column is like your conscious definition of yourself. And that's what is decided based on your time and place of birth. So it's like more set in stone. And but it's more like who we think we are. And then the design part is the one that's like the 88 days prior thing that I mentioned. And that's more of like genetics and like your unconscious ways. So that might be things that like others tell you about yourself. Like, oh, hey, I noticed you do things this way. And you didn't even notice because it's just like your unconscious like mode. And that's how it's a lot deeper than astrology, because astrology would mostly just include that, personality column and not so much like the genetic part. So I feel like this is so much more thorough because it just like puts everything together into one.
Sorry, this generator definition is hilarious.
Oh yeah, go through it.
They are also the natural hustlers and doers of society.
Yes.
And then at the bottom it says, we have to be lit up and passionate about anything they engage their energy with. Otherwise, they burn out. And then it says, I tell generators that unless they feel it's a hell yes, it should become a hell no. What a definition. Now I got to see Sasha's. I'm sorry. Now I got to read that because that's hilarious.
Yeah, let's go through all of them in case anyone else is like a reflector or a projector.
All right. So manifesting generator. I think you can see it on the screen share. Okay.
Yeah.
They're like superhumans.
Or actually, I can't see it on the screen share. Oh, now I can, yeah.
Yeah,
they're crazy.
Oh, they often feel caught between wanting to run out the door and act on their impulses. As we know from many episodes, team, Sasha is impulsive. And also wait for their gut feelings to kick in. The hell yes or the hell no.
It's like a superpower.
That's so funny. I am trained to accept you and your changing mind.
The website I'm reading, it says manifesting generators do things very quickly and are even more tempted to initiate instead of waiting for something to respond to. And that's like one of the issues because generators in general like respond, and manifesting generators are generators mostly. But because they're also like the manifestors, they oftentimes initiate instead of just responding. And then so it says here they're very efficient and skip that, which is not important. But in doing so, they also often skip something essential and then they need to go back to it.
Ah!
And I feel like that's so true. Where like I try to get like 10 steps ahead and then I'm like, oh no, wait, I should have focused on step 2 for a little longer.
That happens all the time.
But
all the time.
Like technically, reading that sounds bad, right? To someone else that might operate differently, like a projector. Projectors wait for invitations. Like the best way for them to operate in their life is to wait for an invitation. And if they try to initiate or they try to respond or they try to do something else that's not within their design, they'll hit roadblocks. They'll hit resilience and just like always feel stuck. So it's interesting because when I read this, like, I often judge myself like, oh my gosh, I'm all over the place, or, I'm too impulsive, or I act on things too much. But I always was like, but I feel like how else would I do anything? Like, that's just how I move through the world. And after I read this and understood, like, that's just how I am, I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's why I feel so good when I do those things. Like, even if they don't pan out, even if it's like a failure or like it didn't, transpire into anything else, I'm even just glad I tried it. And I feel like maybe other people like projectors might do that, like be impulsive or act on something and then feel defeated and crushed, or you know what I mean?
Right.
But I feel like because it's my natural way of operating in the world, it just like it fits. So I don't know. I just thought it was super helpful for that.
I love all of these. Okay, wait. Let's do Manifestor. I know you're already talking about it. But some of these descriptions are hilarious.
Yeah.
You don't need to wait for collaboration from the universe.
Yeah, and it says manifestors are 8% of all people and generators are 70%.
Wow. Well, I'm so basic.
American culture.
American. Interesting. That it says many of them are held back from fulfilling their true potential because they're just trying to please everybody. but it's not the
Yeah.
correct use of the energy that they have because they are trailblazers. Very interesting. I wonder if it's like, I feel like it's very detailed, but more, I feel like it's more practical, so I enjoy that. Ooh,
Yeah.
a
And I
little
feel
more
like it's
even.
also like, I don't know, I feel like I've met so many kids that like, weren't like their parents, or maybe they were a little headstrong or a little more laid back. Like, you can see those things very early on in kids. And I feel like it's because it could just be their design type, or like how their soul was at the time they were born, and that's it. But I feel like, as parents, you could raise your kid and think that they should do things a certain way because of society or because of how you operate as a parent, when really the kid might need a different direction, or like the freedom to just explore and do what they need to do because they might be a manifestor. So I don't know, I just think it's something to be mindful of whenever we're like trying to find our best self.
Do you know any projectors?
Dakota's a projector.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, it
I feel
makes
like
total
those are like the
sense.
good soldiers.
Yes, yes, like I'm here when you need me, just
Yes.
wait, I'll wait for the call.
And I will do it very well, but
Yes.
I will
And
wait
that's
for your call.
exactly, so it says, if you're a projector, you are not here to work. You are here to know others, to recognize and guide them. But that can only happen if you yourself are recognized and invited to do so. So there's like a huge emphasis on just them being invited into something. So it says your strategy is to wait for an invitation in the important areas of your life, like relationships, work, whatever that is. If your authority says yes, then you can really share your gifts and your guidance. But to be invited means that you are seen and recognized for your values. And if you don't wait for an invitation or the energy of an invitation, you meet resistance. Um, and then because like that design chart has a lot more open centers, it says because of that, they take others in deeply. So I feel like those are also the types of people that are easily affected by others that they're around, because their sacral centers are open.
Mm,
So it's like they're like more sensitive, but also because of that, they're almost like mirrors for other people. So I
right.
feel like that's also part of why they have to be invited instead of just initiating, because they could initiate and then they're like, oh, wait, I'm feeling everything. What's happening?
Right. Which is funny
Abort,
because
abort.
there's also the reflector, which is literally the mirror.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I really like this one, and I'm sorry if anyone is a reflector,
It
but
says it's about 1% of the population.
it
So,
sounds like a very sad life. Like basically, they are blank slates with their little of their own defined energy, and growing up in a world where you have to know who you are is confusing for these guys most of all.
yeah. But see, I guess that's where, to me, I don't know. I think as I dive into astrology stuff and like understand myself better and understand like a lot of who we are is just who we are from birth, it makes me more compassionate and understanding of other people. And I feel like we lack that in today's world. Um, but for example, like you might have someone in your life that is kind of just a blah, or like doesn't really do much, or not as ambitious as you, or driven or motivated, or forward thinking, whatever. But it could just be because they're a reflector, they're
That's
chilling,
just who they are.
that's just who they are.
That's just
Like
who
even
they
if
are.
they were surrounded by a bunch of generators, like they might still just kind of sit there and chill. So I feel like it helps you just see like, everyone's doing the best that they can, and it's good to just support each other in whatever they're doing, because it could just be their own path and like how they should operate. Like if they were to do it differently, they would hate their life. So
Right. Right. I don't know. I feel like that's how we remain friends. Like,
yeah.
I just accept that you will have a billion ideas and
Yeah.
course correct as you go.
Well, I think it helps that we're both generators, but I mean, I guess like knowing Dakota's a projector, which is my boyfriend, like that helped me kind of like understand why we see things differently. Or like, I've applied to so many jobs just because I remember one time I was driving around town and the radio came on, and at the time I didn't have a job. I was doing Botanobites, but I was still like, what do I do for money, because all the money goes into the business. And there was an ad on the radio that was looking for whatever it's called, a person to speak on the radio. Why can't I think of the word?
A
Whatever.
host? An
No,
anchor?
like no, like they just kind of do the ads and like the in between stuff.
Like the
There's a
PSAs?
word for it.
Underwriting.
It's like a radio. Oh my gosh, whatever. Anyway, the ad came on and it was like a local radio station. And I was just like, oh, that'd be kind of chill. Like, I might as well just try it. So I legit just like called the number on the radio ad, went there because it's a small town. I just drove there and like,
what? I did not know you did any of this. I'm going to stop.
It was just a random, impulsive manifesting generator moment. And on my way there, I got pulled over and got a ticket. Because it was like a school zone and I was going too fast, whatever. And then, that's
what is Sasha's life?
I was like, I'm still going to this radio station. And so I go there, I go upstairs, I meet the guy, he sits me down, has an interview with me, and I was just like, all right, let's try it out. Like, and he gave me a script and he was like, go in this room and just, I'm going to let you record yourself. He showed me how to use the buttons and stuff. He was like, just record yourself saying the script. And so I just did it. Like, I just tried it like 3 or 4 times. And when I felt like it was decent, I was like, all right, I'll just show him that, whatever. So then whatever, I like bring him in. He listens to it. He's like, oh, okay, whatever. I don't think he really cared because it was like a local small town radio station. It wasn't like anything big. But then he like offered me the job and it was like $7.25 an hour or something pathetic. Like, I literally looked at him and I was like, that's below minimum wage. Like, he's like, yeah, that's all we can do. And I'm like, okay, good luck. Like, but I guess I think of those moments and I'm just like, one, I was kind of discouraged that like the pay was shitty, but I was also like, that's so cool. I was just in a radio station and I just like
recorded this.
Yeah. Like, the experience, I guess I do things for the experience itself. And I guess when you do it that way, like, there's no failure because it was just an experience. So it's like,
that is the most random thing. I can't believe I had no idea that you did this.
I know. I forgot to tell you that. Yeah. That was like,
oh yeah. Just like, oh, I'm going to go stop by like Publix and then record a little PSA thing really quick and then not take the job, but I'm going to go back and do what I was doing before.
So when I found out I was a manifesting generator, I was like, oh, okay, those moments now make sense. Maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe.
You are crazy, but I like it.
But yeah, so I feel like a projector or a reflector would like they would legit think I was insane. Like, they would be like, what, that's weird.
A reflector would reflect off of you and they'd be like, I'm very uncomfortable. I'm just, what's happening?
Well, like a projector, because they wait for invitations, I feel like that has been true for my partner. And I feel like I'm always the one to be like, oh, but like, look around for this or try this or apply for that or do this. Like, you never know if you don't dive in, da-da-da-da. And I feel like at the same time, like, he's in a great job, great position. Like, he likes everything that's going on. And I feel like it's because he's a projector. So he waited for the invitation and he accepted it and he continues to accept it and like shine in that role. And I feel like it's just because that's what works best for him and like his design type. So whereas like, I don't feel like I've ever been invited to anything. I feel like I've always had to initiate or like, you know, push something forward to like really get to where I am. But that's like what I enjoy doing.
Right.
Like, even if I was at a job that I was invited to, I'd probably get bored after a while. So
how do you think knowing this would benefit you? Let's say you're working on a project. Let's say everyone is working on a project. How would a manifesting generator, how does knowing you're a manifesting generator help with your decisions or stuff like that?
I would think in a project setting, it would probably help with initiating like the process of the project being completed, like where to start or how to like get it going.
Because you have so many ideas.
Component.
Oh.
Well, the initiation part of the manifester.
Taking action.
Yeah, taking action.
So knowing that you're a manifesting generator, you're like, I know I'm going to have to take action. So let me just start.
Yeah.
With
and I
what
feel like
can I do?
The response aspect of like being a generator or a manifesting generator is like you're responding to the need, like the need that like we all need to finish this project or like the need that this task needs to be done. So I feel like that itself like motivates you to just go for it. Whereas if you had a team that was working on a project and you had a projector, you might have to like invite them like, hey, can you do this part? Like, can you, like someone else would have to probably say like, can you do this part?
Okay.
That's how I imagine it.
Yeah, because maybe I feel like as a generator, if I'm working on a project, and then like we start decisions are being made, and maybe I feel like this is the wrong way to go.
Yeah.
So then I should be more in tune with that when I do feel that.
Right.
I guess is what I would need to, what knowing that I'm a generator would do for my life here.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I feel like it kind of makes it easy because you can just rely on your gut feeling or like your intuition in a sense.
Well, it's just like I feel like all of us know this. Like you change your mind a lot, but I think knowing that you're a manifesting generator, you're like, okay, well this is why, and this is how I can make it productive.
Yeah.
Instead of just
right.
like spiraling, like, oh my gosh, I can't choose something, and
Yeah. Or like feeling guilt. I feel like so many people feel guilt
yeah.
and shame about how they operate or who they are, or how they do things, or how they study, or how they like complete a task or whatever it is. When really like it's just you being you, like in your life.
Well, if you just embrace it, like
yeah, and it's best to just embrace it and like be proud of it and like happy with it. I mean, I think it's cool too that these human design types show when you feel like you're not yourself, or they have like a not self theme. So for example, it's like when you feel frustrated, or like when you feel bitter, if you're a projector, if you feel angry, if you're like a manifestor, like those emotions I feel like we think are normal, but really they're signs of like you're on the wrong path. Like you got to do something to course correct back to like what you're supposed to be doing.
Which you should be in tune with, because normally you would just ignore it or just be like, everybody's frustrated, you know?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool, Sasha. Thanks for showing us this human design way of thinking, the chart.